This is The Scoop for Friday.
I'm Sean Canan with the WMNF News headlines. The Trump administration has awarded $608 million to Florida for the state's migrant detention efforts. A U.S. Department of Homeland Security official confirmed that yesterday. The funds came from $150 billion Congress funneled to the Federal Emergency Management Agency this year to assist with President Trump's crackdown on unauthorized immigration. Governor Ron DeSantis' administration sought federal money to cover the costs of a migrant detention center in the Everglades. The state opened another migrant detention center in Baker County last month. Federal government attorneys urged a judge yesterday to reject certifying as a class action a lawsuit alleging that immigrants at a detention center in the Everglades are being denied proper access to lawyers. Attorneys for the U.S. Department of Homeland Security and other defendants pushed back against a request by lawyers for three named plaintiffs who are detainees at the facility that the state calls Alligator Alcatraz. The plaintiffs' request filed last month asked for class certification to include all current and future detainees at the facility. But in a document yesterday, federal government attorneys contended the proposed class is overly expansive and said there are divergent issues of fact at law and at play that prevent sufficiently defining a class. A biologist in the Panhandle is suing the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission after being fired for sharing a post about the murder of right-wing podcaster Charlie Kirk. WMNF's Chris Young reports lawyers with the American Civil Liberties Union argue the firing violated her First Amendment rights.
On her personal Instagram account, Brittany Brown shared a post from the satire account Whale Facts that read, quote, "The whales are deeply saddened to learn of the shooting of Charlie Kirk. Haha, just kidding. They care exactly as much as Charlie Kirk cared about children being shot in their classrooms, which is to say, not at all." The post, alongside Brown's employment information, was later doxed by a conservative social media account. Soon afterward, she was fired. Carrie McNamara, a staff attorney with the ACLU of Florida, says it's an attack on First Amendment rights.
There's a real concerted assault on free speech and people's ability to just comment about the most pressing political issues of the day, which is necessary in order for us to have a society where we debate and flag these ideas.
The ACLU of Florida is preparing a preliminary injunction calling for her employment to be reinstated. Chris Young, WMNF News.
The Florida FWC did not respond to WMNF's request for comment. Another 1960s music legend has died. The Yardbirds guitarist and bassist Chris Dreja died yesterday. His death was announced on social media by his sister-in-law. Dreja's Yardbirds bandmate Jimmy Page wrote on Instagram yesterday, "I heard today of the passing of musician Chris Dreja, who passionately played with the iconic Yardbirds on rhythm guitar and then the bass. I hadn't seen him in a while and I wish I had. R.I.P. Chris," Page wrote. Variety wrote that Dreja was originally the band's rhythm guitarist and shifted over to bass after Page joined in 1966. He was invited to join Led Zeppelin but declined, opting to pursue a career as a photographer instead. Don't forget, beginning at midnight tonight, I-275 will be closed for the weekend at the I-4 interchange. You can find more details at WMNF.org. This morning, meteorologists are monitoring several areas in the Atlantic for potential tropical weather development. Meteorologist Megan Borowski from the Florida Public Radio Emergency Network says,
The first area that we're watching is over the tropical Atlantic near the coast of Africa. That has a low chance of development over the near term, but we do expect a wave to exit off the coast of Africa over the next day or so. And next week, as it travels over the water, it could organize. We'll be watching that one closely. Now, the second area we're watching is actually near the coast of our state. There are remnants of an old front lingering overhead, and low pressure could develop along it over the next few days. Now, forecasters at the National Hurricane Center also say that this area has a low chance for becoming a tropical cyclone. Even still, it does require our attention because this weekend the remnant front is going to contribute to an unsettled pattern for the Atlantic coast of our state. Winds will be very gusty along the Atlantic and even inland. Numerous rounds of storms are also likely to stream onshore from east to west across the peninsula today and through the weekend, and locations along the Atlantic coast can expect coastal flooding, rough surf, and beach erosion.
Borowski says that today through at least Sunday, showers that start near the Atlantic coast could reach the Tampa Bay area by the afternoon. She also says that winds will be stiff, especially today and tomorrow, and could occasionally gust to over 20 miles an hour. I'm Sean Canan with the WMNF News headlines.
This is The Scoop, recorded at WMNF Tampa.